guys, it's Kayla and I'm back with another video. Today we're going to be doing my March book wrap up. A few months ago I started a separate book channel, but it was really way too hard to keep up with both, so I thought I would just start posting my book videos on this channel. I already talk about books so much in vlogs and such anyways, so I figured I would just put all the sit down videos here on this channel as well. I hope you guys like the book content. If there's any specific book videos you want to see, please let me know in the comments down below and we'll definitely be doing more on this channel. So if you want more book content from me, definitely follow my book talk and my Bookstagram. I post almost daily on both of those platforms. Overall, March was a pretty good reading month for me. I read 25 books, which is the most books I've read in a month in quite a while. A few more book stats for the month. I read 8,361 pages, so the books that I read averaged 334 pages. So most of the books I read were like full-length books. I did read a few novellas, but most of them were pretty lengthy for this month. I did 4 rereads this month. I had 8 arcs, and then I read 7 audiobooks, so I feel like it was a really good mix of what I was reading. Now let's go through the 25 books I read in March with a little description and review of each. The first 3 books I read this month were rereads for me. I wanted to reread the Bailey Brothers series before the 6th and final book came out in the series. I read the first 2 books in February, but the next 3 books I read in March, the first one being Unraveling Him. This book is a grumpy sunshine romance with forced proximity. I love Evan and Fiona so much. Fiona is just this bright ray of sunshine who talks to her plants, but she's also a badass mechanic. Evan is a grumpy, growly mechanic who is used to being alone, but Fiona just barges right in and makes herself at home in his life. I'm sure I'll say it several more times, but the Bailey Brothers series is my absolute favorite, and this book is the perfect balance of hilarious, sweet, and spicy. We had Rushing In by Claire Kingsley. This is book 4 in the series. This one is a little bit of a forbidden romance. Gavin is a firefighter and he is crushing on his boss's daughter. They start out as a friends with benefits situation, and it obviously turns into more. Every single book in the series is a 5 stars with me. If I could get everyone to read one book series, this would be it. Book 3 for the month was Chasing Her Fire by Claire Kingsley. This is an enemies to lovers romance. Obviously this book was a reread for me, so I knew how it was gonna go, but the first time I read this book I was just like waiting for it because I knew the whole series that these 2 characters were gonna get together, and obviously they did, and it is such a good enemies to lovers book. There is so much tension and drama between these 2, and the chapter when it finally all like blows up between them, the couch scene, it is so good. I love this book so much. Again, the banter, chef's kiss. Logan and Kara are truly everything, and I love their book so much. Then we had the long awaited for book 6 of the Bailey Brothers series. I could probably make a whole video dedicated to just this book itself, but I thought it was truly the most perfect conclusion to this series. Everything just wrapped up so beautifully. I love Levi and Annika so much, and this book reminded me of one of Claire's earlier books where the couple really just knew from the beginning that they were meant to be and they would do whatever it took to be together, and it was more about getting everyone else on board. I really love romances where like the couple is solid and strong and there are like outside forces that are keeping them apart or causing them problems, and this book was so good. Again, truly the most perfect conclusion to everything. Everything just wrapped up so beautifully. The ending just melted my heart. Then I got to do my first beta read. I was so excited about this. One of my favorite authors, Harlow Ray, reached out and asked if I wanted to early read her next book. Doing It Right is a second chance romance with a former football quarterback and his high school sweetheart. We love books that do not have the third act breakup. Harlow Ray is so good about giving the characters time to just like develop their relationship, and there's no added extra drama. Mason is a heart and panty melting football player. I loved him, and just his dedication to his pep and her son was just so sweet and swoony and heart melting. I love it. This book comes out April 7th, so definitely add it to your calendars because this is a good one. Then we have my first audiobook of the month, and it is Tapping the Billionaire by Max Monroe. This was also a reread for me. I read it years ago, but I saw it on Scribd, so I decided to pick up the audiobook and re-listen, and I forgot how much I absolutely loved this book. It was an office romance. Ryan Brooks is CEO billionaire, and he finally sees his marketing director as the beautiful, smart, gorgeous, talented woman she is. Obviously, there's lots of drama. It's not a romance without that, but these 2 were so good. I loved how they were both such powerhouses on their own, and they came together to be even stronger. I really loved this one, and I did enjoy the audiobook as well. Book 7 was another arc, and it was Taste by Melanie Harlow. I have truly never read a Melanie Harlow book that I didn't like, and I was anticipating this book so much. Ignite is somewhere up here on my shelves, but that is book 1 of the Cloverleaf Farms Next Gen series. I love the original series, and the Next Gen series is just as good. This book is a child frenemies to lovers situation with forced proximity. They are snowed in at a hotel. Ellie can't stand Gianni, but most of it's because she actually loves him. And when they're forced together, the sparks fly, and Gianni lies to her to keep her to himself for a little bit longer. And obviously, one-night stands don't always stay at one night. So this book was so good. Love everything by Melanie Harlow. And I'm already counting down to tease. This is book 3 in the Next Gen series, and I cannot wait. Next, I read Entertaining Distraction by Samantha A. Cole. I read her Trident Security series last year, and I absolutely loved it, and there's like a ton of spin-off series from that one. I read so many of those books last year, and I'm not really sure why I stopped reading them. I think just because there's a lot of the books, and I decided to hop into the next book of the reading order that I haven't read, if that makes any sense. This book is Female Dom, Male Sub Situation. It is so good. I love Mistress China so much. You get like little glimpses of her throughout the whole series, but you don't really get her backstory. And in this book, you finally learn all about her, and her relationship with Mike is so good. I love this book. Then I read Fearless by Tia Louise. She so kindly sent this to me as an ARC. Tia Louise is truly the queen of romantic suspense, and this book was no exception. Blake can't stand Hutch for a decision he made years ago, but now he is her only option for help. So they are forced together. He is serving as her bodyguard. It is so steamy, so spicy. There's a shower scene, there's some car scenes. Tia Louise really killed it on the spice and the suspense in this book. Next, I read Ivan by Sophie Lark. I absolutely love her Brutal Birthright series, and I'm finally diving into her Underworld series. This was book 1, and it was so good. Female assassin meets bravado boss. Sloane is an assassin. She goes to kill Ivan in the middle of the night. When he stops her, he realizes she's a female and really doesn't know what to do with her. He has way more feelings for her than she should. The sparks, chemistry fly between them. This is a really quick and fast-paced read. I really enjoyed it. Next, I read Lost in Paradise by J.A. Lowe. The first book in this series, Paradise, was one of my favorite reads from last year. So I've been not so patiently waiting for this book, and it was so good. Paradise Club is a spicy adult-only resort where all your fantasies can come to life. Abby goes to the resort to let loose, find herself again, and she doesn't expect to hook up with someone the first night. Alex is hooked on Ivy from their first meeting, but he lets her explore the rest of the island and find herself a little bit more. There's lots of twists and turns in this book, but the ending was so sweet, and I love how they came together. Next, I read another audiobook, and it is The Coppersmith Farmhouse by Daphne Perry. I've heard such amazing things about Daphne Perry, and I was so excited to finally dive into her books, and seriously, the series did not disappoint. I will go through each book as I get to it, but just overall, it was fantastic. And normally, I'm not a big audio person, but I really loved all the narrators in this whole series. This one was really good. Book 1 in the series, The Coppersmith Farmhouse, is a single mom romance. Jess is the town sheriff, and he does not make the best first impression with Gigi, but he quickly realizes how special she is, and he will do anything to win her heart over. Daphne Perry weaves the perfect amount of tension and suspense in her romance books, and I really enjoyed this one. Next up is Snow by Sophie Lark. This is another book in her Underworld series. I didn't like this one as much as Ivan, but I did really enjoy it. Tasha returns home from medical school and realizes a lot has changed in her family, and she will do anything to protect her family. She is forced to serve as a doctor for a bravado boss, and that is where she meets Snow, who is a boxer. They know they shouldn't be together. They know it will cause problems with the bravado boss, but they can't stay away from each other, and they will do anything to stay with one another. This was another fairly quick read. All of Sophie Lark's books are pretty fast-paced, and this one was really good. Sorry for the angle change. My camera battery died, but continuing on with our books for the month. 14 was One Timer by Tegan Hunter. This was another arc. Really loved the first 2 books in her Carolina Comet series, so signed up to get book 3, and it did not disappoint. This was a one-night stand surprise baby romance. Hollis and Lowell hook up at her sister's wedding. Hollis is fresh off a divorce, trying to get her life on track. Lowell dedicates his whole life to hockey and not much else, but after his night with Hollis, he can't stop thinking about her. Obviously, the baby changes everything. Lowell is so precious. He was just such a good, wholesome, fictional man. Really love this hockey romance series, and I'm already counting down the days until book 4, Sin Bin. Next, we have The Clover Chapel by Daphne Perry, another audiobook read for me this month. After a wild night in Vegas full of dares, Emmy and Nick get married, but Nick walks away and they're separated for 9 years until Emmy walks away from her life in New York City and moves to a small town of Prescott, Montana. She walks into a party, sees Nick there, the first time seeing her husband after 9 years. Nick is willing to do anything to make it work. Emmy is not so sure. This is such a sweet second chance romance, and again has that perfect element of suspense and tension throughout the book as well. Next, I read The Fourth Leaf by Lee Jacques. I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly, but I read her Christmas Holiday Nights novella, and I really enjoyed it, so when I saw she released a St. Patrick's Day one, I had to read it. This book was short, it was a novella, but boy was it spicy. This is a best friends to lovers romance with a primal dom twist. Yes, I said that correctly, but they play a game of spicy hide and go seek, and it turns into so much more between them. Next, I read Tyrant by Sarah Bailey. I signed up for this arc after finishing her Four Horsemen series. After reading that book and getting a little hint of Zane Valetti, I knew I had to read this book, and Daddy Zane and Ari were so good together. This book did not disappoint. Sarah Bailey truly delivers on the spice every single time, and and I just loved how their relationship developed through this whole book. This was one of my top reads for the month for sure. Then I read Two Ranchers for Her by Ellie Rowe. Honestly, this book was not that great, but it was also exactly what I needed. I was really looking for just something quick and spicy, so I didn't fall into a book slump, so I just searched up random MMF books on Amazon, and this one popped up. It looked kind of interesting. I really liked the cover. The book was a little all over the place, and there were a lot of typos, but it was quick-paced and spicy, which was exactly what I was looking for. Then I read book 3 in the Jameson Valley series, The Lucky Heart. The series really makes me want to pick up everything and move to small town Montana, even though I've been a California city girl my entire life. Another second chance romance. Felicity and Silas were so good together. I love Silas so much. The men in the series are kind of jerk faces. I feel like that's what they're known for, but Silas is a good one of the bunch. Really ready to risk it all, do anything for Felicity, even though she is hesitant, but they come together beautifully in this book. Next we have another arc, and that is Her Shadows, His Secrets by C.C. Monroe. This was a super spicy small town romance with BDSM elements and knife play. Definitely read the trigger warnings on this one, but Hannah picks up her life in the middle of the night in New York City and moves to Cherry Hill after receiving a letter. As she's trying to make sense of her new life, she meets Theo, who is instantly attracted to her, but knows he can't open her heart to her, so he proposes a friends with benefits situation. He is a very domineering man, but I really liked his character. I liked him a lot more than Hannah. She was a little too insecure for me at times, but overall I liked this book. It had a good amount of suspense in it as well. Not my top read of the month, but it also wasn't bad. Next I read The Outpost by Devney Perry. We're really getting to like every other book is from her, but I was seriously flying through these audiobooks. They were so good. I really enjoyed them. Somehow the series just keeps getting better and better. I like them all more and more. Sabrina is a journalist and she drops the story of a lifetime, but it puts her life in danger. Bo sees Sabrina and instantly knows he'll do anything to protect her, even though they are total opposites. The chemistry is off the charts between these two, especially with the forced proximity, and I really enjoyed how their love and relationship developed at The Outpost. Next I read Rich as Sin by Shanna Handel. I got this sent to me as an ARC. I'm on her ARC team. I truly love every single book I've read by Shanna Handel, especially everything in her Bachman Brothers series. They are truly such comfort reads for me. I think they're some of like the first spicy romance books I really got into, and she's just grown and developed the series so much as it's gone on, and I really liked Rich as Sin. This was a fake dating romance. Rich is trying to get the family off his back after getting left at the altar. So he asks Amina to be his fake date. Two agrees, she agrees, and obviously more blooms between them. Again, the Bachman brothers are just such comfort reads for me, and Rich as Sin was no exception. Okay, wow, we're almost there, I promise. But next I read The Bitterroot Inn by Devney Perry. This was the last full-length book in the Jameson Valley series. Maisie's had a rough go of it the last few years. She went through something super traumatic and she's a single mom. She's not quite ready to open up her heart yet until in walks Hunter Faraday to the Bitterroot Inn. She's instantly taken with him, even though he won't quite open his heart to her, but in his point of view, you know he's super into her. He just can't open up himself fully to her yet until he knows she loves him. Lots of drama in this one, but it was so good. I'm a hoe for a good single mom romance, and this one was great. Next I read A Baby for the Boss by Jessica Cain. I don't know if there's any way to describe a Jessica Cain novella. If you read them, you get it. If you don't, you don't. They're truly just a wild ride, and A Baby for the Boss was no exception. It's really hard to describe these books because on one hand they're not very good, but on the other hand they're the best things that you've ever read. You just have to read one to experience it fully. Last but certainly not least, we have The Candle Palace by Devney Perry. This was the last book in the Jameson Valley series and a little bit of a shorter one. You already know Sarah and Milo get together from previous books, but Sarah kind of goes back and tells their love story, how they came together. It is a forbidden romance, nurse and patient. It was so sweet. Milo is such a good man, and I love Sarah as well. They go through so much together, but they're both willing to put everything on the line for each other, and it was so sweet. I loved it so much. It really was the perfect way to wrap up my reading for the month. Okay, wow, I just talked for forever, but those were the 25 spicy romance books I read in March and how I liked them. I hope you guys are as excited and ready as I am for more book videos on this channel. If there are any specific book videos you want to see, please let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up because it really supports my channel and it helps my channel grow. That's gonna be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in my next one.